If you're looking for optimism, which I'm here to bring you, I think Drake Maye has all the it qualities you want in a quarterback. He's shown that. He's shown the ability to do what he's doing at a higher level quickly. So I think that's the most promising thing I've seen in camp. But the other thing is, Fred, like you said yesterday, they cannot be any worse offensively than they were down the stretch last year. It was painful to watch. It was painful to be there. That they have to be better than that this year, no matter who's out there playing on this football team.
Yeah,
so that's how I looked at it. And you said, I thought you were spot on in saying that. It was so bad, historically bad last year, where all they needed Mac Jones to do was make one play in that game in Germany, and they'd come out victorious, and he couldn't do that. So it has to be better.
Yeah, the entertainment value of those games last year was so awful that even look, I don't like that. 4.5 is the win total. I don't think many people like that over with the win total, based on their schedule and just how terrible this team is right now. But you said it off the air. Who do you say it on the air? Who do you think their best offensive player is?
Jalen Polk.
All right, so that's
their rookie wide receiver.
See, if you're a fan, then that's good, right?
Yes.
Like, pay attention to all this news on Maye and the fact that it's even being discussed at all, that Maye has been surprisingly ahead of the curve and that he could, I mean, he's not going to, but he could, conceivably start in the first game. If Polk is good, just those two guys, then you've won this draft. Obviously, you don't even need Polk to be good. If Maye obviously is the draft, but if those two guys are good, then you won that draft. And the way the NFL is now, you really only have to hit on next year's draft, and now you're talking about being a contender. Then you spice in some free agents, and then you're a contender. Buffalo's on the downswing. Aaron Rodgers has only got a year or two left, and then it could be this. In the third year of Drake Maye, you're challenging for a playoff spot. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, first of all, this team badly needs a left tackle. And there are two of them, and Mike Lockhart could probably speak to this more than I can, but there are two of them that are going to be top tier in the draft. There's a kid from LSU, and there's another kid from Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Those are the two guys.
Yep.
So if you are the Patriots and you finish 3-14 or 4-13 again, and you wind up with a top 3 pick, and Fred, we've discussed this, but I want Dan's point of view on this. That's a good thing because all these quarterback hungry teams will want to trade up. It will give you an opportunity to trade down, accumulate a lot more picks, still get the left tackle you desperately need. Apparently, this kid Campbell didn't give up a sack at all last year. Apparently, he's one of those franchise tackles. You draft him 5th, 6th, 7th.
Oh, well, who says that
the
the top tackle in the draft is going to be there 6th, 7th in the first round?
I don't know the answer to that.
That's
but
a long time away, Mike.
I guess what I'm saying is
that's what I'm talking about.
he won't go 2nd or 3rd.
Why?
Right? All right. You all the projections I see right now don't have him as
season
2 or
hasn't
3.
started. We're going to start talking mock drafts now.
I'm trying to make a point
but
here.
Here's how I look at it. You should be, if you're a Patriots fan this year, you should be on a 2-year plan. Right. Basically, that's what you say to yourself. Okay, it looks like they've got, as Fred said, that franchise quarterback. Now, over the next 2 seasons, including this year and next year, they need to find a tackle, and they need to find a number 1 wide receiver over the next 2 years. And then if you find that, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what you want to. That's the key to success in the NFL. It's simple, and you kind of build off of that. So that's where you are. So you've got one piece in place, it looks like, and then they need to somehow find that tackle. They need to find a number 1 wideout, and I think they can be pretty good.
Another thing that you need to succeed in the NFL is the number 1 corner. They thought they had that in Christian Gonzalez. I know it's the preseason, but people have been very down on him this preseason. What have you seen, Daniel?
I haven't seen enough of him to get down on him just yet. You know what I mean?
You got to get in the trenches.
But part of it, Fred, is you go to these practices and you're trying to watch as much as you can. And I have my binoculars and what have you. There's only so much you can focus on now. To sit there and say, has he been beaten time and time again? I don't know. I haven't watced every single rep of his.
Well, you saw him against A.J. Brown, right?
Yeah, A.J. Brown is going to be really good. Like, I don't want to say anything, Mike and Fred, because of our league, but
Sounds like you might be going second overall.
Oh, you got the number 2.
I do,
All of
Fred.
us in this room are in the same fantasy league.
That's right.
And all the three of us are at the end of the first round. One of us is at the top.
Oh my goodness! Yes, I
Draft
just
is coming. I have 2 drafts at the same time on Monday night.
Oh, it must be so
My son's
difficult
league and our league.
to be so popular. Well, but it's funny.
My
'cause
favorite part of last year was when you were on with Dave Richard, and you were like saying you were looking for a running back, and Dave recommended somebody, and I claimed him just before you could do it when you were off the air, and you were so mad.
I just thought it was
I didn't even
lame.
need him. I didn't even need him.
I
did it just to tick you off.
I just thought it was lame.
It was the best.
It was just a lame thing to
Made
do.
my day, Freddie.
It's a $75 buy-in league. I like that everyone tries, but there's a point where you got to be cool.
Yep. I was peacocking around my living room after that move.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Cam, come in here. Let me tell you what I did.
God will smite you for such things. All right, so Bill Belichick was on the very talented Pat McAfee show.
Oh, I can't wait.
And thank you to the audience who saw that when he was broadcasting from Dublin that he fashioned a newsboy hat because, God, he sucks. I'm sorry, man. He sucks. And it was such a mistake to put him on. They gave him so much money. They're so dumb. Anyway, McAfee has Belichick. And since we're playing this, it's a testament to how great McAfee is in that they paid Belichick to come on the show. And Belichick is loose as a goose, and they ask him this.
New England Patriots were different, though. They had Jacoby start the game, then they had Drake Maye play. Both of them were able to showcase some stuff, even though Jacoby's taken off after one series.
Yep.
Feels like Drake Maye is going to be the starter up there, which has led to a lot of conversation around should he not?
Yeah, where is he going to be? Who's saying it looks like Drake Maye is going to be the starter? All right, whatever. He's got to cover everything, you know.
What is Dan Orlovsky is begging them, please don't do that. Let this guy kind of develop even more and even more. How do you feel on the entire subject? Do you baptize them and let them kind of do their thing? Is that kind of the debate that's taking place, you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think you really know how anybody's playing in preseason. I mean, especially at the quarterback position. The schemes are so simple.
What's he laughing at?
I was thinking the same thing. What are you laughing at?
Like he is like killing himself laughing in the background, like throughout this whole thing.
Let Bill speak. And
He
go
thinks that
from
he's
there.
like telling a joke, but
yeah.
he's not.
How was that funny?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
he's like-
annoying.
It really is annoying. Like, what do you? And I like how Bill has to start with a smack.
Oh, yeah. Some habits die hard. The best is
He's just banging that 24-year-old, getting lost on ring cams and smacking away. Every time I see him, I just go, there's a 24-year-old letting him in her. That's it. Can you know? He's so old. And he's not like George Clooney or Robert Redford 74 either. He's Bill Belichick. He's like your dad at 74.
It's very floppy.
Yeah, he's like every
very good
He's
adjective.
every
Floppy.
every year of 74. Like he has not fought any of it. Like he's a 74-year-old dude, and God bless him. But you know he's not wearing like designer like Italian suits and like slicking his
Right, his
hair
hair's
back,
not colored and
Like,
all that
right,
kind of
exactly. Like he doesn't like have like a cool mustache.
I haven't slept in 50 years,
Like
and
him and
I'm
Pete
all,
Carroll are two different.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah,
all.
well, Pete Carroll looks like he's 4. Like Pete Carroll's got like muscles, but which is weird because now I'm looking at him like, holy, you're older than Belichick. But anyway, you know he's not like dealing art. There's a certain kind of sophisticated 74-year-old that you could go, I could see why a woman would fall under his spell. He's a worldly, sophisticated man. You know, he speaks 5 languages. I can understand that. And you're some intelligent, impressionable schoolgirl in Paris for the summer. I get all that. He's inviting you to these salons with the rich and famous. But then there's Belichick, who's like taking 6-hour dumps and like, you know, leaving magazines all over the bathroom. And you gotta, you know, and he's peeing in like in stutters. Like you could hear him in the bathroom, like
Start and restart.
so we're starting and restarting, and you know he ain't living in like 90 either. I mean, this is a man who has not been healthy when he was coaching.
The other part of it is that McAfee is speaking 8 miles a minute. You know, it's 33, sped up to 78, and then Belichick like slows down.
No, McAfee's a really bad broadcaster. He's just bad. We could nitpick every. I mean, yeah, he speeds up. He's like talking too jovial with him. Everything. He's not good at broadcasting.
So what did Bill say?
Yeah, that's a good point, Dan. And that's a very subtle way to get back into it.
Is that kind of the debate that's taking place, you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think you really know how anybody's playing in preseason. I mean, especially at the quarterback position. The schemes are so simple from the other side of the ball, generally speaking. You're running for the most part, you're running very basic schemes. You're trying to evaluate your players. You're trying to get them to play the good fundamentals that they know how to play. You're not disguising things. You just want your defensive players to be, ready to react and play fast and quickly. And you don't want to put in like 1,000 adjustments against a team who offensively isn't running that much anyway. So most of those games are very basic. When you watch the games, it's, 2 or 3 coverages. You see a lot of man-to-man coverage because teams like to, evaluate their players and see who can play man-to-man and who can't.
Well, that's where I got that, apparently. That's when I said that earlier. I guess that's where I came up with that whole thing. I was hearing this for the first time. Yeah.
Come out of preseason and say, oh, this guy's really playing good, or that guy's really playing good. I wouldn't put much stock in that at all. I'd put more stock in what they're doing in practice. And let's see what happens in the first 3 or 4 regular season games. I've never felt like, that's why opening day is so hard. You don't know your team well enough to know how they're, even if it's the same players, it's different circumstances. You're going against a different opponent.
Well, do you agree? It sounds like he thinks they should play Brissett.
Yes, that's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah. So,
and it makes a lot of sense. Everything he's saying makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there's no negative to sitting Drake Maye. I don't know what the
You're not trying to win
here.
anything this year, and there's nothing more important than developing this quarterback.
But even, John, I could give you the argument that they have a better chance of winning this particular game with Brissett. Again, his experience with Van Pelt, he knows, or at least the offense. He's been in the division. If he hasn't played against Cincinnati, he's been on teams that played against Cincinnati. He's prepared for Cincinnati, like this under this regime. So I think that the week 1 you have a better chance of winning with them. Yeah, and I do agree with you. I think the games that you want to win, I think you want to beat the Colts and you want to beat the Cardinals and you want Maye at quarterback. And those are 2 winnable games at the end of the season. Let's see, 17, 16, 15, 14, and 13. So if weeks 13 and 14, if you can win those 2 games and you're a Patriots fan and Maye's playing and you win those 2 games, or you're very competitive in those 2 games, then that's it. Then
can I ask you a question, though?
Yeah, because I'd rather lose, by the way, draft stock next year in order to win games at the end of the year. I do believe that because I do think it's important. Go ahead.
Put your head coaching cap on. And
it's always on.
If I walk into the room today or what have you with that team and say to them, what? I mean, because the bottom line in the NFL is it's about winning, right? That's all people care about. That's all that we've time and time again to look at the team and say. Now, if you're thinking like Mayo, like you are, Fred, then you say, listen, I think this is the best way to beat this team, blah, 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 with Jacoby at quarterback. I think what Gerard Mayo is trying to do is sit there and say, look in the mirror at yourself and say, if I start Drake Maye, do I have a better chance to beat Cincinnati? Because all the players care about is what can we do this week and how can we win?
What I would say is who on this team is in any position to demand anything. I'm being serious.
But I think as a coach, you owe that to your players, don't you?
No. I think you owe that to the players if you have a bunch of veterans that have been through the wars and that they're like looking to win.
Which is the defense.
But you've paid the guys that you want to keep. Who on this defense do you have to who do they owe anything to? These guys are lucky a lot. Well, I guess defensive, even on defense, they took care of the guys who they're hurt. Who on the defense specifically would you be talking about? Because everyone's pretty young, or they just re-signed them. So I don't know.
But
I don't think there would be a disconnect.
Talk to anybody
and
on
plus,
that
you know
defense.
they all like Brissett, and you know that you know how these NFL things go. I bet you they prefer Brissett start. Personally, I bet you they would prefer Brissett starts.
Oh, I think they'll be fine, but I'm just saying that's
I don't think you're losing it. I don't think you're losing it. I don't think Mayo's
guys like Javon Bentley, guys like Devon Godchuk.
How much
are there every single day and have to go through what they went through last year.
I'm not concerned about those two guys. And by the way,
but as a coach, you have to be.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, because what are they? What's the alternative?
So what if they're getting paid this contract?
Because they're not leaving anywhere. But my point is this. I do want to ask you one thing very quickly. I mean, how much of this is even Mayo's decision? I mean, this is not entirely Mayo's decision under any circumstance. He said as much.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm
just saying what I think's going through his mind. That's all. That's why you hear some of the contradiction of what he's saying to the press. That's all.
I also, he has no responsibility to tell the press the truth. But also, Dan, if that's what's weighing on Mayo, I'd be very concerned about his ongoing success as a head coach, because he's got a. I wouldn't be afraid about losing the team going into week 1. I'd be afraid about losing this team when you're 0-8. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's very possible this team could start the season 1-5, 1-6 just by looking at the schedule here.
I mean,
it's very possible.
It's more likely than not.
Let's say.
Of course. Well, there you go, Dan.
Let's say the Jets do Jet things and the Patriots figure out a way to win. Let's just say that happens and they go 3-3. Does it matter what the record is when you want to make the change to Drake Maye, based on what we know about this team?
Yes, I would think so. Yes, but now we're projecting a situation that's just not going to happen. You're playing the Bengals, the Seahawks, the Jets, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Texans. You're not winning 3 of those games. There's no way. There's no way.
Let me ask you this. If you go out there week 1 and go with Brissett, and I think we're all in agreement that you go with Brissett, and he gets hit like he did last week, and he gets knocked out of the game. Are you okay with Drake Maye coming into the game?
That's a conversation that I've had with every guy that's come in here, because I think that's a very dangerous situation. I think that they should keep.
That's Mike Reese.
We should. Why'd
Fred?
you set it up? You stink.
That's a tease, folks.
Yeah. Now I know what you're doing. I thought you were asking, but you just want to get into the interview because you saw Dan saying it was time to break.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.